Welcome to Bode's Edmonton Real Estate Market Update for November 2022. This video is going to show you what's happening in the Edmonton property market, and then I'm going to show you where you can find all of the same supply, demand, and pricing information for your specific community and property type. So let's dive in. What's happening in Edmonton right now? Here we're looking at the greater Edmonton area and all residential listings and the number of new listings to come to market each month for the last 5 years. So you can see here that typically most years follows the same trend, but the bright pink line shows you 2022, and you can see for most of 2022 there's been more new listings each month than typical. But that's slowed down now, and you can see here at the end of October, there was 3% more new listings than the average of the 4 previous Octobers. So the number of new listings really started to come back down towards typical levels. Meanwhile, on the sales front, you had the same trend earlier in the year, only more extreme with sales. So there was more homes selling at the start of the year than typical for that time of year, but that's really dropped off now. And you can see we're kind of back down to average numbers here. So in the most recent month of October, sales were down 4% versus the average of the last 4 years. Now you can see 2020 and 2021 were very strong years for sales. The 2 previous years a bit more typical, and 2022 is somewhere in between them, but lower than the average of the 4 previous years. So sales starting to slow down, the number of new listings about typical. What does all that mean for inventory? So that's the total number of homes for sale in Edmonton. And again, that number was down very much at the start of 2022, but has come back much closer to average now. And at the end of October, number of homes for sale down just 7% versus the average of the last 4 years. So pretty typical number of homes for sale in Edmonton right now. And then on the months of supply side, so this says, given the number of homes for sale and how fast homes are selling, how many months would it take to sell through all of those homes? Earlier in the year, months of supply was very low, down below 2 months of supply. But that number's come back up quite quickly here in the last 6 months to be up, getting close to 5 months now of supply, somewhere around 4.8 months. And that puts it much more back in a balanced market. For earlier in the year, very much a seller's market. As you can see here, previous years, 2018 and 2019, in a buyer's market territory. Right now, we're in a balanced market at about 4.5 to 5 months. So what does all that mean for Edmonton home prices? Well, let's take a look at this chart here. It shows us what's happened to prices for the last 17 years in Edmonton. You can see in the last couple of years, prices went up quite quickly, but they've started coming down in the last few months, and they're coming down quite quickly in Edmonton. So month over month, they're down about 2.5%, which means a lot of the gains from the past year, in fact, all of the gains from the past year have now been wiped out, and prices are down 0.7% year over year. So if you've sold a home in the last year, it was probably good timing. Now is looking like prices are down about 0.7% versus this time last year. So great news for buyers, perhaps not such good news for home sellers. But this, obviously, all of this really depends on what area and what property type you have. So if you want to see more information, this kind of pricing data broken down by property type, so for apartments or for detached homes, check that out on our blog at bode.ca. Or even better, you can find out what's happening in your local community. So we have 3 tools on bode.ca where you can find out exactly what's happening in your community. So you can see the same kind of supply and demand and price trends that we've been looking at here for the whole of Edmonton, but just for your specific community. So check that out at Market Data. We also have a tool called Sold Data, where you can find out what any home in Edmonton or anywhere in Alberta has sold for in the last 12 years. So if you see a sold sign go up in your neighborhood and you want to know what it sold for, head on over to our Sold Data page and you can look it up there. Finally, we've got a comparables tool where if you want to get a really good feel for what your home is worth in today's market, you can enter 8 features of your home, and we'll return the most similar active listings as well as the most similar recently sold homes. So that should give you a really good feel for what your home's worth today. So check all of those tools out at bode.ca. And if you have any questions, make sure to ask them below in the comments, and do subscribe so you catch our market report next month. Thanks very much.